Castle was born Vernon William Blythe in Norwich, England on May 2, 1887. His parents were William and Jane Blythe. He graduated from Birmingham University with a degree in engineering. He also worked as a magician in clubs and at private parties. He moved to New York with his sister Coralie and her husband Lawrence Grossmith, who were actors. Although he had his engineering degree, Blythe soon turned to show business and adopted the last name Castle. In the early 1900s, Castle appeared in a series of shows produced by Broadway comedian Lou Fields. Castle's specialty was slapstick comedy, a physical comedy with many crude practical jokes. He was often cast as second banana to Fields. Irene Castle was born Irene Foote on April 17, 1893, in New Rochelle, New York. She was the second daughter of Dr. Hubert Townsend Foote and Annie Elroy. She attended several boarding schools but did not graduate from high school. An energetic youth, Irene rode horses and belonged to the swim team. As a child, she studied dancing with Rosetta O'Neill, who taught a generation of children ballroom dancing. Vernon and Irene met in 1910 at the Rowing Club in New Rochelle, New York, which by then was a popular place for people in the entertainment business to live. Vernon arranged an audition for Irene with Lou Fields, who hired her as a replacement dancer for the Summer Widowers, her first professional appearance. Despite her father's doubts about welcoming an actor into the family, the couple was married in New Rochelle on May 28, 1911. They went to England for their honeymoon to meet Castle's family, but returned to New York in time for August opening of Hen Peck's, with both Castles in the cast. The Castles returned to Europe in 1912 because Vernon was to appear in a French musical show performing the barbershop sketch from the Hen Pecks. The French musical show also included a dance for the Castles, set to the music of the young songwriter Irving Berlin. While in Paris, the Castles tried out a ballroom dance routine at the Café de Paris and made an instant impression. Later, Irene credited their popularity to being young, clean, married, and well-mannered. But their appeal was based also on her appearance, as she was the image of the girl next door. The Castles projected their delight in dancing with each other and made the new dances look easy. The Castles sailed back to New York after 6 months in Paris. They were booked by Louis Martin for his fashionable Café de Opera, and New York went dance crazy over the Castles. In the period after 1910, when the Castles were busy developing their many dances, like the Texas Tommy, the Foxtrot, the Grizzly Bear, and others, the dance and musical style of African Americans had started to become a popular part of American life. The Castles were considered the first white entertainers to hire African American musicians. Irene became a fashion leader when she bobbed her hair. Millions of women followed. Irene's light, floating castle frocks, headache band, and Dutch bonnet were widely photographed, described in journals, and copied. After the start of World War I, Vernon, who was a British citizen, grew restless as the dark news poured in from Europe. He left Watch Your Step, a musical show, in 1915. The Castles gave 2 farewell performances at the Hippodrome in New York with an orchestra led by John Philip Sousa. Vernon sailed for England, where he joined the Royal Air Force. While Vernon was away, Irene continued playing in Watch Your Step, the musical, until 1916, then made Patria, a 15-part silent film. Vernon became an aerial photographer and was awarded for bravery. He was killed in a plane crash at Fort Hood, Texas, on February 15, 1918, on a training mission with a student pilot. Irene appeared in vaudeville with William Verdon in an act that Fred Astaire helped create. Her public career ended by 1923 when she married her third husband, Frederick McClan, and moved to Chicago. The McClans had 2 children. Irene married her 4th husband, George Ensinger, after McClan's death. In 1939, Irene acted as advisor to Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers' film The Story of Vernon and Irene Castle. She also performed in several summer stock plays. Her chief interest in later life was in the field of animal rescue work. Irene Castle died in Eureka Springs, Arkansas on January 29, 1969. She's buried next to Vernon Castle at Woodland Cemetery, New York. Vernon and Irene have made a significant change in the way modern dances are, and they will forever be remembered.